Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Be Healthy Naturally. It's been a while since I've uploaded a video. Really trying to get in the hang of like just being consistent and with making videos and just keeping content coming for you guys that's going to be helpful for anyone that's interested. So today in this video, which will be my third YouTube video to my channel since I've started, today I'm just going to be talking about some of the testing, the extensive testing that is helpful if you are experiencing digestive issues or going through your Candida journey, Candida Overgrowth journey, or just other types of digestive issues like SIBO, or dealing with parasites or just bacteria in general. If you just want to know where you're at in that whole realm, then I want to just kind of give you guys some of my testing that I've had done throughout my journey through having a Candida overgrowth and what kind of testing is generally ran. And again, for those who are just coming onto my channel, I used to work for a naturopathic clinic. So that's a holistic clinic where they do a lot of extensive testing for patients who have all sorts of kind of, conditions from digestive to skin issues. We dealt with a lot of oncology patients. So a lot of the stuff I have gotten from working there, just, knowledge from working there. And I was also a patient myself. So this is kind of the testing that they had me do. So I'm just kind of going to go through that with you guys. I don't want to make a really long video, so I'm going to make it kind of quick and just kind of go over with you guys some things, okay? So the first test that I had done that was more, in-depth than if you were to go to kind of like a regular MD doctor for a regular checkup. The first testing that I had done was some just general blood work. So we used a company called Health Diagnostics, and I found that it was a really good company compared to another one that I had done through, it was called Boston Heart. They both are generally the same. They run kind of the same in-depth testing. But we use Health Diagnostics for my latest blood work. And this blood work goes over just your general kind of your nutritional, levels inside of your body. So for instance, they did my lipids, so which is like your cholesterol, fats, how your body is tolerating that and how your body is metabolizing fats from your food, and where my cholesterol is at. It went into some other things like my fibrinogen, which is kind of like an inflammatory kind of marker. It went into my metabolic levels, so like testing my vitamin D, which is very important, homocysteine levels, vitamin B12, folate. It went into some other kind of testing like my renal category, just how my body is metabolizing and digesting sugar. So it went through my insulin and kind of just going through those type of like blood work. Now, don't get me wrong, medical doctors, they do test for those things as well when you go for like general testing. But with Health Diagnostics, they kind of go a little bit more in depth as far as, if you want to start off with kind of your testing that you've had first, and then you'll get retested in a couple months to kind of see where your levels are. And usually what'll happen is the doctor will put you on supplements or some type of food regimen to kind of help the levels that aren't so well. So like this in the red, which is actually, it looks like it's a part of like my lipid category. Then the doctor will put me on something to kind of help with that, and then we'll retest and then kind of see where the levels are. Or the doctor will tell me you need to start eating more of this, and then we'll retest and see where the levels are. So they go a little bit more in depth than what the medical doctor's testing kind of has. And it just kind of tells you what the ranges are that they expect, what are healthy ranges, and then on the very back they kind of go through like a little bit like on the comments. They have comments for you, so they kind of tell you, you know, just their feedback. They have a analysis person there that after they test, you know, your blood, then they have, you know, an analysis that kind of goes through what those levels are and just information for you and the doctor so that you guys can go over that in your next appointment. So in this True Health testing, this blood testing, it also tested like my omegas, so just fish oils and just how the omega-3s and the omega-6s I have in the body, how am I getting that from food, how is my body digesting and metabolizing that, and just kind of just seeing if I need to be doing anything different. It also tested my hormone levels, which is something that they go in depth about because they do more than just the normal kind of MD hormone. When they test you know, your medical doctor will test a few hormone levels, but with this testing it actually goes into more hormone levels than are regularly tested. So like your estradiol, your estrogen, your progesterone, your TSH, which is your thyroid stimulating hormone. You know, it goes into the more in-depth hormones just so that you can kind of get an overall look of that category in whole. Okay, now this blood test is about 7 pages. Okay, so that is a lot of content here that just kind of goes through what my levels are, where I'm at, as far as nutrient, vitamin wise, you know, cholesterol wise, fat wise, hormone level wise, you know, how my heart is doing, and just all kinds of things like that, which is extremely important. Even if it doesn't seem like it's directly related to digestive, this is super important because it says how our body is breaking down the foods that we eat and kind of the nutrients that we're intaking from our food or supplements if we're taking. And that's important because that goes hand in hand with digestion, obviously, how your body is digesting. So this is super important. I definitely recommend to have a blood test done, just going through more in-depth things. Now, you know, when I went to my medical doctor, I tried to have my medical doctor try to interpret this testing, and my experience was they were kind of shunned off and just basically was like, no, you know, you got to go to the doctor that gave you that. So I'm not sure if it's something that they really don't know or don't do. But just look out for that. Just for instance, if you went to your medical doctor and asked them if they could run more in-depth testing, like your full hormone panel or your full lipid panel or full inflammation marker panel, I don't know if they will be right off the hand bat ready to do it, as opposed to going to see a holistic doctor or some doctor that is willing to go more in depth with your testing to kind of find out the root problems of what's going on if you are experiencing something. But this is very important, and like I said, this is a blood test, okay? So that's that, and I did get on supplements after these results came back, okay? So that was very important. The next test that I'm going to go on to is food sensitivity testing. So this is what my food sensitivity test looks like, and you see a lot of bold lines here. And we use a company called Meridian Valley, and from what I know, they're a pretty good company. Also through the holistic doctor. I don't know if medical doctors use this company. They might use their own way of doing a food sensitivity test, but this one does a lot of foods. I think it does like 190 or more foods here, on what you could be sensitive to or allergic to, and just kind of what you should stay away from. Now, I think that Meridian Valley offers a test where you can do at home for yourself. So like if you don't go through a doctor, they have one, I think, where you can do like a finger prick at home and send it in. But I'm not sure if it's based on just like location as far as the states or kind of how it works, but it's worth looking into if you're interested. So this is what it looks like. It's kind of set up as a graph, and it will have the foods listed here, and then it will tell you what the reference ranges are, kind of like in this middle section here. And then it tells you actually avoid or moderate or low. And that kind of just gives you, basically tells you straight up, you should avoid this, or this is moderate, so you can have it every once in a while, or this is low, this is okay for you to have. And then it actually tells you your level on this side, and you compare it with the reference ranges there. Now in red, obviously that will be the foods that you want to stay away from. The ones in blue is okay to have, and then there's like a orangey like yellow one. That one you can have every 3 to 4 days is what the doctor says. Okay, so this is super important, super important, because when you're dealing with digestive issues or just digestion period, even if you don't have any issues, it's good to know where you're at so that you can kind of avoid things that may come up in later on, you know, in down the line in your life. Okay, so this is super important, just to know what your body may not necessarily like internally. And you may not have symptoms, you know, that show up, and it could just be going on inside of you, and then later on that's when the symptoms really show up, and usually that's when a problem is already started. So for me, dairy was a big thing. Like, that was super red for me, and that just kind of tells me here, which is cow's milk, goat's milk, you know, all kinds of cheese, even yogurt. Like, that was a big thing for me. So those are definitely in the avoid area. Wheat was something, gluten. So a lot of things was on here for me to kind of stay away from. I was sad, but I've seen worse, so I can't like be too sad. And then, you know, it just kind of goes on to telling you more of the foods that I should stay away from, or foods that I can have. It tells you, you know, coffee, tea, you know, it goes into vegetables, it goes into spices. You know, you cannot even think that you could be sensitive to a vegetable because your parents just want you to have vegetables growing up, but you can actually be sensitive to it. And mine was kale. Kale is something that I cannot have, and I think asparagus was another one that came up big for me. So, you know, you want to know these things so that you don't, you know, keep eating them. Or at least you want to be able to take a good break from those foods so that your body can kind of reestablish itself to kind of tolerate those foods later on down the line. You know, kind of try it and see how your body does with those foods after not having them for you know, a while, maybe 6 months, maybe a year, for some people maybe more than that. And usually you can kind of go back and start introducing those foods if, you know, everything turns out to be okay. But for some things, you just probably won't ever be able to have. And like for me, dairy is a big one, cheese is a big one, and that's because I grew up eating a lot of cheese and eating, you know, drinking a lot of milk and having things with milk and cream in it. So it's no wonder why, you know, it's very like high for me, you know, and to tolerate it. And I probably won't ever be able to like really fully have it all the time like I was doing it before. Probably shouldn't have it at all, but of course, you know, I'm human, so I cheat. So, okay. So that was for me. And like I said, I just think it's super important for you to have done, especially dealing with, and if you hear my dogs in the background, they're like fighting. They like gotta be watching them 24/7. But anyways, so when, you know, you just want to make sure that you know where you're at as far as getting tested, you know, with food sensitivity testing and your blood test, for the vitamins and nutrients and how your body metabolizes things, so that you can kind of knock things out of the way and just kind of be aware and start working on things before they get to be like a huge problem. Okay, so that was kind of the thing for me, was the food test. And then the things in the moderate list is things in the moderate list are things that you can have, that I can have like every 4 days, just to kind of rotate. And that's kind of how you want to do. And that helps you to, kind of keep from getting food sensitivities usually, or that's what helps, I should say, is just make sure that you're rotating the types of foods that you're eating and not eating the same thing like every day or every other day. Like, you want to make sure you rotate your foods and eat a variety of foods so that your body can have time to process them and metabolize them correctly and understand what they are and what's going on, okay, and not overload it at once. So the last and final test that I've taken to help kind of see where I'm at as far as Candida overgrowth wise, because that was my issue, that was my problem, was having Candida overgrowth symptoms. The last one was a stool test, okay? So this is a stool test, my stool test results, and yes, I did have to do like a chemistry science project with my stool. Not fun. Did it for my husband too, because he was a chicken, so I'm like a pro at the whole thing. But we used a company called Yeast Data, and they're a really good company too. They go really in depth on, just kind of everything that's going on, from bacteria. They can do parasites. They obviously do the yeast, which is Candida, just to kind of see what's going on there. SIBO issues can come up on these testings too. And then at the very back, again, just like the blood test, they kind of give you their comments and their feedback on what was going on with your results, and the ones that are high and the ones that you should be aware of, and different things like that, and kind of what they mean, okay, to help you and the doctor. All right, so for me, the first category was bacteria. I don't know if you can see this, I hope you can, but it was bacteria. So basically it tested my bacteria, and it's in columns. So they have like a good section, they have like a middle section, they have a red section, okay? So it kind of tells me here what is my good bacteria, kind of how much I have in there, if the good bacteria is working. In the middle, it kind of tells me what I need to work on as far as bacteria, if I need to get something, like, it's not bad yet, but it's getting there if you don't get it under control. So it'll have the bacteria here, and then in the red section, it'll have anything that's bad and shouldn't be there at all, and then that's usually when you get on some type of supplements or medication for it. Okay, so for me, I had a few things that were in the middle, and it looks like they were of the strep family. So that's super helpful to know, because obviously I need to get that bacteria in check. How you get the bacteria section under control is getting on a really good probiotic. Sometimes you might need to get on some like antimicrobials to kind of help with them, but usually it's bacteria. So obviously probiotic is bacteria. So doing the good probiotic will really get these things in check. And then also maybe even sometimes a herb or something might help with it if you have like a bad bacteria. Some herbs are really good for getting rid of it. Okay. And then the next thing was testing my yeast. All right, so it'll say here in the good level or the bad level. So I didn't have any isolated yeast, so that was a good sign for me. Okay, so Candida is yeast. So usually if I had something there, it would come up as, definitely it would say like a yeast overgrowth or something, it would say. So it didn't have anything there, which is helpful to know, because the doctors can kind of see what's going on inside. Okay. And then it does a microscopic yeast, okay, where it kind of looks at it, and it will tell you if there is none to rare. So I had none, which is also a really good thing. Obviously, you're just going to say, how are you going to have a yeast Candida overgrowth if you don't have any yeast? So, but stay tuned for that. You'll find out. So no yeast came up there. All right, so that was good to know. And then it goes into other things also on here, and it just kind of breaks down kind of how my body is digesting my food. So how it's digesting my fats again. So there's a blood level wise, and then there's like an intestinal digestion wise as far as how your food breaks down things. Okay, so this kind of tells me the fats, the fibers, if there's mucus in my stool, if there's blood in my stool, the different type of proteins, you know, how my body is breaking that down, you know, just kind of if they see anything in my stool that shouldn't be there, it'll kind of be in the levels here. So in the red, obviously, will tell you that that's bad, but if you're in the green, then that's good. So most of everything was in the green, and then it ends on the side, it tells you like kind of what these mean and what, you know, kind of summarizing, so that you can kind of understand it. Obviously, it's better to have the doctor interpret it, because even still, it's like some of these are like, what? But it's helpful to kind of have that. All right, it even tells you the color, the consistency, so that's really helpful to know. Okay, but one of my levels was in the red, which was a big thing to know, because it told me how like my intestines was kind of working inside with my food. So this here was in the red. This was the only level that was in the red, and this was actually my secretory IgGA level. Okay, the normal ranges were from 51 to 204, so that's where you should be, either from 51 to 204. Mine was 614. The hell. So this was a super like big thing for me. I was like, what the heck does that mean? So the doctor kind of just broke it down for me and just kind of summarized that basically, you know, like my intestinal wall, my cells in my intestinal wall, instead of it being like a defense, you know, everybody has like a defense inside. Okay, so my intestinal wall is like your intestinal wall is your defense. Mine is kind of like broken up, so it has like holes in it, meaning that food and different things can pass through there that it should not be, and it kind of is making my defense you know, response inside of my body kind of go crazy, because my body is like trying to figure out what's going on here. Things are getting in that shouldn't be. Okay, so that was kind of that was a big thing for me, and that's good to know, obviously, for if you have digestive symptoms, digestive issue symptoms, you know, you need to know that. So obviously had to get on some supplements to kind of just repair that and just kind of eat differently and different things like that. Okay, so this was a big thing to know. Like I said, my husband had it done and his results were totally different, and they actually helped in helping me with my diagnosis. You know, like obviously, like I said, yeast did not come up for me, but it definitely did for him, which told me a lot, and I'll get into that for another video. But it's very important to just have these types of testing done. I know that medical doctors will test for do stool testing as well, but I'm not sure how in depth they go into talking about it or, you know, testing it. So just, you know, ask questions, you know, be aware that this is open to you, that you should do it. If you're experiencing issues, nothing is working, nothing is helping you, you want to go a natural route. In order to go a natural route and to help your body heal itself and not just jumping to get on medication, you have to know what's going on. You have to get in depth. You have to know, okay, what is my body saying? What is my body feeling? Okay, so this is the 3 types of tests that I did. So just to recap, we had the blood test. Okay, super helpful, nutrients, how my body's digesting things. We had the food sensitivity test, so what foods my body doesn't like and what I should stay away from. And the stool test, all right, and just kind of how my body is breaking things down and what my intestines are saying inside. So I hope this video was super helpful. Let me know kind of what feedback you have, if you've had any different type of testing for your issues, kind of what to do, what made you do that, and how did you seek that out? Did your medical doctor do it? You know, all of that information is really helpful for us all that are learning, and even me, because I'm still learning. Okay, I'm still on my journey. Or feel free to ask me any questions if you have to, and I can answer the best that I know how. And again, I'm just explaining this from my experience. This is not at all something that I'm an expert on, but I just know from doing kind of how things work and kind of being in that environment. Okay, so don't hesitate, and I'd love to just hear your feedback and your comments, or just, you know, what information you have to share as well. And we'll see for my next video what is the deal. I think next video I want to share with you guys kind of just what this overall process that has led me to do. If you watch my other videos, and you know, I've done a tea detox video, I've done a supplement video, and now I did the testing video, but I didn't really get in depth on kind of what led me to getting into all of this. So I think that's what I probably want to do for the next video, but you let me know. Okay, I'm always open. I believe sharing is caring, so don't hesitate. All right, so I'll wrap it up. This video is long enough. If you want, you can go ahead and add me on Instagram at BeHealthyNaturally 2.0. All right, that's my health page, and I'll post things and do videos on there time to time as well. Or on Facebook at just Be Healthy Naturally, and that's B with 2 E, so BEE Healthy Naturally. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy.